Hey, how did the universe form? Well, it's not as though people haven't given this some serious thought. It's also not as though people haven't actually done the research. There was a Father Lemaitre who in the 1920s did the calculations and gave us the Big Bang model of the universe based on the work of another astronomer who made the initial observations. And Father Georges Lemaitre gave us the Big Bang model. And the Big Bang model hypothesizes that at some point a singularity became unstable. And this singularity was a singularity of infinite mass, infinite heat, and infinite density. Okay. Now, it was spinning rapidly, which made it unstable. It was also under a great deal of pressure from inside, which made it even more unstable. And eventually, these two forces of instability overcame the innate gravity of the singularity and caused the singularity to let go. And the singularity expanded. It went from being a singularity to being a rapidly expanding and diffusing cloud of superheated subatomic particles. Except that it wasn't particles yet, it was still just energy, because it was too hot for the particles to form. But as it cooled through expansion and diffusion, eventually it became sufficiently cool that subatomic particles could form. Quarks, bosons, and things like that. And these subatomic particles, they eventually cooled to the point where you could have atoms. And once you have atoms, then you have matter. Actual matter. Now, the atoms were all hydrogen. And these clouds of hydrogen are floating through the universe, and they begin clumping together. And they're spinning at the same time. They're slowly spinning, clumping together. And what happens is then, eventually, the clouds become sufficiently dense that in the middle of them, a chain reaction begins, and they go critical. They achieve critical mass, and they become stars. And the stars begin converting hydrogen into helium, and then helium into all the other light atoms. And this runs through all the way through to things like beryllium and stuff like that. And then the star goes supernova. And once it goes supernova, then you start getting the heavier elements, the heavier atoms. Iron, gold, uranium, plutonium, stuff like that. All the metals and whatnot. But first of all, you have to have the formation of the lighter materials. So these first generation stars, near the very beginning of the universe, maybe 400 million years after the universe had formed, they were supermassive and they collapsed into black holes. And it is very possible that these black holes may be the same ones that mark the center of all modern galaxies. So that these stars gave us the material to shape the galaxies that we live in. Ta-da! Isn't that funny, huh? Yeah. So we arrive at a point of understanding, and this is done by research. This is done by study and scientific progress. This is not somebody making a random guess. This is somebody figuring it out based on doing the calculations, doing the math, doing the research. And that's the conclusion that we have reached by doing the math, by doing this, literally doing the math. Father Georges Lemaitre did the math and gave us the Big Bang model. And this man was a priest, devout man, who spent the rest of his life studying the universe thereafter, as he had always done. An educated, intelligent man, a member of the clergy, and the man who gave us the Big Bang. Can't go wrong.